What's up, treasure hunters? So I have some thrift store finds that I wanted to share with you that I got over the past week. I don't have a ton of stuff. I actually ended up, going out and having numerous trips where I really didn't find anything. And other trips, I'd find a couple things here and there. But some of these items I think I could turn for a really nice profit. So let's jump right into it. The first thing I found here is a piece of studio pottery. I picked this up. It was only $2 or $3, so it was super cheap. I think it was actually like $3.39. And this is a wood-fired, just kind of fat little vase. And I actually found this, and I've mentioned this numerous times before on previous videos, is certain times of day, and it's usually like midday or like late morning when, at least at Goodwill, they bring out the metal carts that have, the 3 shelves, and they roll them out to a common area and then fill up the shelves depending on, what the items are. And anytime I see those carts, I always go there to check out what's on there because obviously, they're the newest items that are out there. And I found numerous things that were, very profitable or valuable on those. Carts. And this was one of those things. I checked out the cart and I found this piece of studio pottery. And it was only, like I said, $3.39. It is signed on the bottom, but I have not been able to ID this yet. I haven't even posted it to any of the Studio Pottery Facebook groups yet. But I will post this and see if I can find more out about this. If I can't, for only $3, I could still, sell this for at least $30, I would think. Next thing I found is another piece of studio pottery. It's a teapot, obviously. And this was actually, very well made. And I've mentioned this before too. Teapots tend to sell because they're obviously a little more difficult to make, and especially if they're made well. They tend to fetch a pretty decent profit. And this one is signed too. It's probably kind of hard. It's not really incised very deeply on the bottom, but it says Kaiser. I did post this to one of the pottery groups on Facebook, and I never got a definitive answer on who it might be. I found a couple different people with the last name Kaiser, but I haven't been able to actually see what their signature looks like. So I'm still trying to ID this, but I got this at a Salvation Army. It was only $5.99. And even if I can't ID this, I could still, I think, easily get $50 for it. It definitely looks mid-century, almost looks like a Japanese kind of design to it with just how the red and these black brush marks. So still a cool find for $6.99. So next up, I found 2 pieces of Japanese art, and they're both pretty old. I found these on the cart also, and this one and the next one I'm going to show you in a second were both priced at $2.09. So, super cheap. And this looks like a kind of just like an ink drawing or ink painting. And there's not signed or anything. So obviously identifying the artist itself is going to be really difficult. It's pretty unique just in the fact that it's smaller, but it's obviously very horizontal. And one thing on the back here, and it'll be really hard for you to see, but there's one of those old, like real old style nails here. So, that just kind of gives away that it is definitely a older piece and looks to be in the original frame and everything. But I just thought it was kind of cool. I have sold a bunch of Japanese art, and for $2.09, definitely couldn't pass this up. I'm just not sure if I'm going to sell this and the next piece as a pair or if I'm just going to sell them individually. And here's the next piece. It's a little larger, obviously. And this one does actually have some sort of older sticker here. But it says Chicago on the bottom, but it's kind of torn up. And this one actually has gold accents too, and looks to be in the original frame and everything. So, I mean, for $4 total, I definitely think I could get at least $50 for the pair. But I'm going to research this more and see if I can find some similar pieces and what they sold for. So this next piece of art that I found, actually I found on a completely different day. It was at the same Goodwill that I found those two Japanese pieces. This is also a Japanese piece of art. This was done on canvas, and it's, you know, it was custom framed by Joanne Fabric. So obviously this isn't an original frame or anything, but this is still, thought it was I don't know, this kind of art always sparks my interest. It is signed. I have not been able to ID this, but this piece was only $4.99. And seeing that it is in, you know, really nice new frame with no damage to it, I'll just post this to some of the Asian art groups and see if anybody recognizes the signature. I just thought it was kind of a cool piece of art, and I have no idea what I would sell this for until I get some more information on it, but I definitely think it was worth $5. So the next thing I found, this and the next piece of art I'm going to show you were my most recent finds. So I really don't have any information on, you know, who the artist might be or anything like that. But this is just a watercolor. On the back, it does have some kind of framing, I don't know, information. But what's funny about it is the phone number is just 35821. So that, I mean, that kind of dates it, that it's obviously an older piece. And then there's like a little poem thing, and this says the Lincoln Landing in Rockport, Indiana. So this is obviously probably a painting of that. And then it still says 509 here. I did not see a signature on this piece, but just given the age of this, I'm pretty sure I can't remember where I saw it. Oh, down at the bottom. The poem thing was dated, that's on the back, was dated 53. So this is you know, it's definitely a mid-century piece. But I thought it was, you know, just it's in the, you know, old wooden frame. I thought it was a nice piece for $5. Even if I can't identify who the artist is, it's still something that, you know, I could get a pretty good profit off of. And this is the other piece that I got also at that same Goodwill. This is also 509. This is an original painting of a black lab hunting dog. You know, it's got the gun, a couple pheasants there hanging. This one's signed J. McCarter. I did some quick searches around that, and I really didn't find anything right away, but I still have to do a little more research on that, see if I could find out who the artist might be. And on the back here, and I said who the artist might be. The artist is actually named at the top. It's Jane McCarter. I just haven't found any other work by her. So this might have just been somebody who was, you know, just a good artist, just not well known or anything. And it is titled Can the Hunter. So that must be the dog. And it says also for Mark Davis. So I guess this was a gift of this person's dog, I would guess. But either way, it's still really well done. It's cool. And I think, you know, this kind of like hunting stuff always sells pretty well, especially old like hunting or like sporting dog kind of stuff, or any artwork like that. Old lithographs, early 20th century, late 19th century lithographs sell really well when it's like hunting or horse riding or that kind of thing. I think that this could connect with anybody that is really into hunting, especially if they have a black lab. So for $5.09, I thought this was a nice piece of art. So here's a painting that I also got at a Goodwill, and this one was priced at $11.99. And this is an oil on canvas painting, and you can see it's pretty tall. It's a larger piece, and I couldn't really read. It's signed down here, and I could not come up with anything for the signature on the bottom yet. So I haven't posted this anywhere. I just thought it was kind of different the way it was done. I don't know. This is one of those pieces where I wasn't sure if it was just like one of the more well done decorative factory type art, or if it was actually done by an artist that was more, well known or something. I wasn't really sure. And for $11.99, I didn't want to leave it there. I don't know. I just kind of like the style to it. Either way, it was only $12, and I definitely think I could make some profit off of selling it. The one thing that kind of tipped me off that it might not be a factory piece. A lot of times the factory pieces are stapled to the stretcher and then painted on. But this one looks like it was painted, like on the canvas and then put on the stretcher, just given it's a little looser. And the corner here at the top, let me drop this down a bit, is just not, folded over like you see on a lot of those factory pieces. And also on the sides, the canvas, it's painted all the way back here. A lot of times with the factory pieces, the painting stops off and kind of more in a straight line because obviously the canvas was already stapled to the stretcher and then painted on. But this definitely had to have been painted on prior and then put on this stretcher. That's just me logically thinking about it. I don't know if that is any sort of actual giveaway. I don't really know how all that factory art was created back then. Hopefully I can figure out if the artist, has any kind of auction sales or anything, or if I can even figure out who the artist is. But either way, it was a good piece for $12. And this is the last piece that I'm going to show you, and this was probably the best piece that I found over the past week. And this is a limited edition, looks to be hand-colored lithograph probably. But this was done by Lloyd Van Pitten. I did a little bit of research around him. I actually found out who the artist was because the signature, which is down on the side away from me, but it was super hard to read. I had no idea what it said. So I did a quick image search using Google Lens, and just given the style of this art, I found a bunch of different works by the artist. And then with that, all the stuff was listed between, $300 to $700, I would guess. And this one is numbered 31 out of 300. I didn't find any of this exact piece, but I did find a lot of similar pieces. Some were smaller, but all of them, were in the hundreds of dollars for sale or sold. So it was definitely a good find. I got it was only like $7.19, I think. And it's just in one of those, standard metal frames with glass. Here it is pretty heavy. This is just style. He did a lot of these kind of interior or window scenes, or like on the porch, or a lot of that kind of stuff. So it was a really, really good find. And anytime if you're having trouble reading a signature, but the artwork just kind of looks unique. You haven't really seen something similar to it. And you have, I don't know if iPhone has the same thing, but if you have an Android phone, Google Lens works pretty well sometimes in helping you identify who the artist might be. So that's all I got for you guys today. I know it wasn't a whole lot, but I was able to find some good pieces at the thrift stores over the past week. Stay tuned. I also have a ton of auction stuff that I got in the mail over the past week that there are some pretty cool pieces, a lot of art and some other stuff too that I got, I think, pretty good deals on. If you haven't done so yet, please hit that subscribe button and click that notification bell. It really helps me out in building this channel out, as you all heard a million times. Also, I'm still working on my video series, which will go through the ins and outs of going to thrift stores or looking at estate sales or any other places where you can find treasure, identifying valuable items, and then coming up with a good price where you can turn it around and sell those items for a profit. So I'll keep you updated on my progress, and I will need some people to look through the course for free and give me some tips or feedback so I can improve it and make it as best as it can be. So thank you again. And if you get out to anywhere where you can find treasures, I wish you the best of luck and I hope you find something great.